He jumped into black water without knowing how many people were trapped below. He couldn't see. He couldn't breathe for long. And every time he came back up, he chose to go down again, 40 times. By the end, his lungs were destroyed. His career was over. And he still said it wasn't enough. This isn't a movie. This actually happened. And it started with a man going for a run. In 1976, champion finswimmer Shavarsh Karapetyan performed a legendary act of heroism in Yerevan, Armenia. While finishing a 12-mile run, he witnessed a trolleybus crash into a reservoir, sinking 33 feet deep. Karapetyan dove into the freezing dark water 40 times, smashing the rear window with his legs to pull passengers out. Though he rescued 37 people, only 20 survived the trauma. The feat came at a massive personal cost. The combination of lacerations, cold, and polluted water led to severe pneumonia and sepsis. This ended his world record-setting athletic career, but his selflessness is one of the greatest survival stories in history. Let's get into details of that fateful day. In 1976, in Yerevan, Armenia, a man went for a run. Not training, not competing, just running. Shavarsh Karapetyan was already a world-class athlete, a champion finswimmer, a record holder, a man whose lungs and legs were considered almost unnatural even among elites. But on this day, none of that mattered, because in front of him, without warning, a trolleybus lost control. It swerved, and then it disappeared. The trolleybus veered off the road and plunged into the Yerevan Lake Reservoir. In seconds, it sank. Not slowly, not dramatically. It dropped straight down, over 30 feet, into cold, opaque water. Inside were dozens of people. Office workers, students, parents, strangers who had woken up that morning assuming they would make it home. There were no alarms, no emergency divers, no rescue teams nearby. Just silence. And one man on the shoreline who understood something immediately. If no one goes in now, no one comes out. Karapetyan didn't stop to calculate. He didn't look for equipment. He didn't wait for permission. He took off his shoes and jumped. The water was freezing. Visibility was zero. No light, no movement, just darkness and pressure. He found the trolleybus by feel, ran his hands along the metal, and realized something terrifying. There was no easy way in. So he did the only thing possible. He smashed the rear window with his legs. The glass shattered inward, jagged edges, floating shards, sharp enough to slice skin, muscle, lungs. He reached inside and grabbed the first body he could find, then swam, up, out, one life. And then he went back, again, and again, and again. Karapetyan dove into the lake over 40 times. Each dive, into complete darkness, into polluted water filled with oil, sewage, and debris, into glass that was actively cutting him open. He had no idea how many people were inside. He had no oxygen tank, no rope, no guide, just instinct and refusal. On one dive, he surfaced holding something that wasn't a person. It was a seat cushion. He realized the mistake, looked at it, and went back anyway. Each rescue took longer. His lungs burned, his legs weakened, blood clouded the water. Glass embedded itself into his skin, and later doctors would find it inside his lungs. But he kept going, because stopping meant accepting that whoever was still inside would die. Karapetyan pulled 37 people from the submerged trolleybus. Only 20 survived. Not because he failed, but because trauma, drowning, and internal injuries had already crossed the point of return. And still, when it was finally over, Karapetyan collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital. Severe pneumonia, sepsis, infections from polluted water. For weeks, doctors weren't sure he would live. And when he did survive, another truth became clear. His competitive career was over. The lungs that once broke records were damaged. The body that once defined endurance had paid the price. Shavarsh Karapetyan never called himself a hero. In interviews, when asked about the event, he said something that stunned people. His greatest regret was not saving more. Not the career, not the pain, not the loss of everything he had trained for. Just the people he couldn't reach in time. Today, his name is not shouted in stadiums. There are no blockbuster movies, no viral slogans. But in 1976, because one man didn't hesitate, 20 people went home who otherwise wouldn't have. Children grew up. Families stayed intact. Lives continued. Not because of technology, not because of planning, but because someone chose to enter darkness again and again and again. History often celebrates loud heroes, but the most powerful ones move quietly and leave behind lives instead of applause. This was one of them. This was Shavarsh Karapetyan, and this was 10 minutes that changed everything. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.